I may not speak for every Clippers fan, but I do think I speak for some. And I think a lot of Clippers fans would be upset, or some Clippers fans would be upset if the Clippers found a way to pass this opportunity by. Now, everybody knows about the shakeup in the NBA world with Damian Lillard going to the Milwaukee Bucks, where it sent Drew Holiday off to the Blazers and the Celtics pick him up from the Blazers. And now with that happening, Malcolm Brogdon, a point guard the Clippers have been pursuing and try to talk to the Celtics and find a way to lure him to L.A. Now they have a better opportunity because he's sent to the Trailblazers, a team that's not really going nowhere no time soon. And on top of that, they, would be a team more reasonable to negotiate with rather than a team like the Celtics who are finals bound, or a team who has went to the finals, and other major teams, that have contention or, aspirations of going to the finals. And with the Trailblazers, the negotiations definitely might be a little bit lighter than it would with those other teams. And this is the opportunity I think the Clippers need to go after Malcolm Brogdon. I really don't see James Harden in their future. I understand that there's a lot of people in the office, in the front office, that would like to have James Harden on the Clippers. But at the same time, that might be a tough ask at this point. So really, even if they couldn't get James Harden, I'd be glad if they couldn't, because like I said, James could bring a lot of good things to the Clippers, but he can also bring more bad to the Clippers. And that is that's playing like Russian roulette to me. And I don't think that's what the Clippers should do. So I think the more safer option, and probably the better option overall, would be Malcolm Brogdon, which is the reason why the Clippers were interested in him, at first as well, because he definitely brings a lot of, experience to the team. Definitely brings he'd be a good locker room guy. And like I said, he was averaging like 14 points, 6 assists, and he was shooting like 48% from the field. And he can knock down threes and stretch the floor. And, he's not too shabby on defense as well. I mean, he's not the best defender. He's not a Drew Holiday or anybody like that. But, he will defend, and, he will get up in opposing player and try to bother them a lot. And I think that's what you need in a player like him. And I think that's what the Clippers would need in regards to their point guard position. Now, I'm hearing reports that the Phoenix Suns are looking for a point guard as well. So the Clippers, if they're going to make an opportunity, or if they're going to make a run at Malcolm Brogdon, they better make it quick, because the Phoenix Suns are looking for a point guard to fill out their roster and give them a little bit more balance with the all the scoring that they have between Booker, Beal, and Durant. So now that they don't have Chris Paul, they're looking for that point guard, that floor general that can give them a little bit more continuity and spacing on the floor and allow everybody to play their position and don't have to do anything out of position or out of character to try to make it work. And the Clippers, for their sake, of course, they got Russell Westbrook. But I mean, the front office obviously has to be thinking, since they trying to find another ball handler, they obviously have to be thinking whether, should they have Russ in and out the starting lineup, or however the case may be, and we needed somebody else to be a good ball handler so we can have a good backup for Russ, and they can give us a little bit more balance in the point guard position, so it won't be too many nights where we have X amount of turnovers and it's preventing us from getting ahead in games. Whereas if we have a point guard, it gives a little bit more balance. It can even things out a little bit more. And I think that's what the Clippers are thinking, obviously, since they're actually looking at a point guard position in their trade route. It's because, like I said, Malcolm Brogdon is the name you heard this offseason. You heard me talk about him, and James Harden, 2 ball handlers, 2 guys, who play point guard. So it's like, when you think about that, the Clippers are already thinking ahead. They like Russell Westbrook, but at the same time, they know what Russ can do. Russ can give you a lot of good, and Russ will give you a lot of good. He will give you a lot of energy. He will be that great locker room guy, and he will be, a solid person on the roster. But, he also, the flaw of Russell Westbrook can hinder you from getting a championship. And regardless of whether you agree with me or not, the facts are facts. Russ's, turnovers have hindered his teams from getting a little bit further in the playoffs than what they could have. And it hasn't all been his fault or anything like that. I'm not even trying to sit here and say, Russ is the sole, it's all his fault. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes, certain players' flaws don't allow them to win championships unless they either fix it or unless a team has a balance on a team, a counterbalance on a team where it doesn't affect them as much, where they can find ways to win in situations where that player's weaknesses doesn't, override everything that the team is doing. And that's the way it is sometimes. And the Clippers already see that. That's the reason why they offered, Russ a very minimal contract. Russ took it because he liked the environment. He loved being with the Clippers. He loved being there. And he is a fit. I'm not saying he's not a fit. For what I've seen and how he interacts with the players and how they interact with him and all that, it looks like a fit to me. So I'm not discrediting Russ any. Russ is going to do well. I believe he is. I just think that the Clippers understand that having somebody with a little bit more balance and a little bit more under control with their game as a point guard is a lot better for them in the long run. And, rather than, just relying on Russ and hoping that, Russ doesn't turn the ball over at an inopportune time and hoping that everything goes well. Rather than hoping, go out and get somebody where you can do a lot less hoping and get a lot more production in that area. And that's what the Clippers are looking at. And that's the reason why I said Malcolm Brogdon is a perfect fit to me. Now, the injury thing with Malcolm Brogdon with his arm, his shoulder, that could be a question, but at the same time, it could be something in regards to him just needing treatment, because I haven't heard anything about him getting any surgery, anything like that yet. And, I haven't heard anything about anything substantial as far as it being major, in which it could hold him back from playing or maybe even starting the season, or maybe coming within the season within the first couple of weeks of the season. And I think the Clippers would be fine with that because, like I said, the Clippers, since they're taking the regular season more serious this year, they need all the balance and all the scoring and all the attack that they can get. And they need all the, they need less turnovers. They need all the possessions they can get. They need everything to work in their favor if they're really trying to win a championship, because teams have gotten better. The Suns have gotten better. I mean, just teams have gotten better overall. You know what I'm saying? The Milwaukee Bucks have gotten better. I mean, you look at teams around the league, they've gotten stronger. And then the Western Conference is always a tough, outing itself. So, I mean, you got to be prepared. You got to have all that you can have. I mean, get all the best players you can. If you ask me, don't settle for anything. Get all the best players you can, because if you want to win a championship, that's what you got to do. You got to get all the best players you can, build as much as you can, and, play as many games as you can, and understand that every game is valuable, and build the continuity on a day-to-day basis. And hopefully their two superstars can stay healthy for them to be able to put all this together. But with that being said, I definitely think Malcolm Brogdon would be a good piece. You heard me say it a couple weeks ago in a video that I made about them trying to acquire him in a trade proposal. And I definitely think that he would give them the value that they need, and he would give them the balance that they need. And I think if they had Malcolm Brogdon, or if they go after him, they wouldn't even try to look at James Harden maybe at the trade deadline within the season or something like that. I think they would feel fulfilled if they had Malcolm Brogdon. I don't even think they would look James Harden's way. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, then if I were the Clippers, I would go after that. And I would definitely make that a prime focus. He's on the Blazers. He's ready to be taken. It's up for grabs. So definitely go after him, and definitely don't make no mistake with it, because if you're looking for another point guard, it's a reason that they're looking for another ball handler and another floor general on the floor. Because I mean, I'm not saying they don't trust Russell Westbrook, but there is some eyebrows raised when we talk about him being the main guy, and he's going to anchor the offense, and they're going to win a championship. Because if that's the case, you got to understand, if Russ was really like that, he would have won championships with all the other teams he played with, or one of the other teams he played with all the other superstars he played with. The ball in Russ's hand, and at crucial times, it makes some people nervous. And I guarantee it makes some people nervous in the Clippers' upper staff there in the front office. So that's the reason why they're actually looking elsewhere, just to see what else they can find. But hopefully they found they can find Malcolm Brogdon and put him on the roster and get him to LA, so they can have that security blanket, and then they can go from there. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments, and we'll talk about it.